Standing in at 7'9", officially the new record for tallest college basketball player.
Nobody in that arena understood what was about to happen. You think you have seen tall players before, but 7 feet 9 inches is not height. It is an event. And the moment Olivier Rioux rose from the bench, the entire building reacted like something impossible had just become real, because giants are not supposed to move like this. So here is the question. What really happens when the tallest college basketball player on the planet finally gets his moment? Not in a viral clip, not in a shared screenshot, but under real lights, in a real game, with real pressure. Can a 7'9" athlete fit into a world that never evolved with someone like him in mind? Can he keep up, hold his ground, and actually change the way people see the sport? The arena buzzed before tip-off, but the energy did not feel like any normal night. This was not casual pre-game chatter. This curiosity sharpened into anticipation. Whispers moved through the crowd in low, excited waves. Some fans doubted his height entirely. Others repeated rumors. Many watched the bench more than the floor, because sitting quietly behind the Gators starters was the reason the building felt charged. Olivier Rioux, wrapped in a warm-up stretched to its limit, the tallest college basketball player on earth. Even from a distance, he shifted the scale of everything around him. Even seated, he towered above teammates. When he leaned forward, the motion looked like an adult leaning into a huddle of young players. Every adjustment of his shoulders, every shift of his hands, drew eyes from every direction. He did not try to command attention. Attention simply bent toward him. His proportions made the court feel like a different dimension. For years, most people only knew him online. The Guinness World Record clips, the viral photos from middle school, the side-by-side comparisons that looked fake. He existed as a digital phenomenon, but tonight, he wore a Florida Gators jersey as a real athlete in a real rotation. Tonight, he would either validate the hype or become swallowed by it. As the game began, Florida played fast and clean. Guards sprinted through screens. Shooters let fly without hesitation. Bigs executed switches with purpose. Everything moved quickly, like any high-level college game. But every time the camera drifted to the bench, the noise inside the arena changed. The crowd did not want the normal rhythm. They wanted the moment that would break it. Eventually, they got it. Midway through the half, the Gators' front court picked up fouls. The coach scanned the bench with the expression of someone calculating risk against reward. His eyes landed on the giant. He made the call that shifted the entire building's pulse. "Olivier, you are in." The reaction detonated instantly. Fans rose to their feet. Phones launched into the air. Conversation dissolved into raw noise. Olivier peeled off his warm-up, and the jersey underneath looked like it had been tailored for a mythology poster rather than a college lineup. When he stood to full height, the court seemed to shrink around him. Teammates looked undersized. Assistants looked miniature. Even the basket looked closer to him than to anyone else. The announcer delivered his name with theatrical weight. Checking in for the Gators, 7'9", Olivier Rioux. Opposing players glanced sideways, processing the incoming matchup like a new variable in an equation they had never studied. Referees needed half a second to adjust their spatial sense. The crowd cracked into a roar that sounded like disbelief becoming reality. He stepped onto the floor and the game briefly felt like it paused to take him in. His first offensive possession arrived with the drama of a scripted moment. Florida swung the ball around the arc until a driver pulled up near the wing. He floated a pass, not a lob, not a bullet, just a high drifting arc. Too tall for most players. Perfect for one. Olivier reached up, barely shifting his base, and plucked the ball from the air like a man grabbing something off a top shelf. The defender's eyes widened. Olivier turned, rose a few inches, and delivered a two-handed dunk that looked effortless and absolute. No theatrics, no wind-up, just dominance executed as simply as breathing. The arena erupted with the force of a release. Fans screamed, cameras shook, his teammates flooded toward him, tapping his chest, yelling into the air, celebrating the moment they had all been waiting for. Olivier's grin said everything. This was not hype anymore. This was real. But what came next mattered more than the dunk. On defense, the entire geometry of the court changed. Guards who had sliced easily into the paint moments earlier now hesitated at the free throw line. What had been open space now felt like a trap. On one possession, a quick guard attacked downhill. elevated for a clean layup, and suddenly felt something immense behind him. Olivier did not leap or swing. He simply extended one arm. The ball hit a wall of reach and drifted away weakly. The crowd responded with another explosion of sound, but this time, less shock and more recognition. A true rim protector does not just block shots, he erases options. Drivers saw his shadow and turned away from the rim before even committing to a move, yet every strength comes with an equal challenge. The opposing coach adjusted instantly. On the next possession, they ran a pick and pop. The screener dragged Olivier away from the basket and slipped to the perimeter. The ball swung. A three went up. Olivier closed fast, but physics limits even giants. The shot dropped. The opposing bench roared. They realized they had a strategy. Pull him away from the throne, make him cover ground, make him move in space, make the giant run. This is the reality of a 7'9" athlete. The court grants advantages no one else has, but it also builds obstacles no one else faces. But what happened next showed why this night mattered. As he stayed on the floor, Olivier began adapting. On offense, he stopped relying on mere height. He worked angles, he carved space with precision instead of brute size. When defenders tried to front him, he shifted his hips just enough to seal them off and create a passing lane. Teammates recognized it. A soft entry pass drifted into the post. Olivier caught, gathered, and dropped in a controlled hook. 2 points, no rush, no force, just pure execution. Soon after, a long rebound kicked high off the rim. Most players would leap. Olivier extended one arm, barely lifting from the floor, and dragged the ball down like gravity answered to him. He laid it in quietly. Each possession, he looked more settled, more aware of how to use his frame without fighting it. As the highlight plays rolled in, something subtle unfolded beneath them. The narrative around him began to shift. For years, people spoke about him with a tone of disbelief. Could someone this tall truly play? Could he move? Could he handle the pace? Was he just a novelty? Tonight forced those questions into a different category. Florida's defense recalibrated around him. Guards pressed up harder, knowing protection waited behind them. Opposing bigs glued themselves to him, terrified of giving him even a step. The center of the court rearranged its spacing because he occupied it. But everything he did carried a deeper layer. Learning. A body like his does not come with a playbook. Every minute on the floor was a test. How low could he sit in a stance without compromising mobility? How should he time contests without fouling? How could he communicate switches when he saw the court from a completely different height than everyone else? One defensive possession in particular captured his progress. The opponent tried the same high screen that had fooled him earlier. This time, Olivier moved with calm control. Slide, slide, hands up, no panic. The guard probed, searching for daylight, found none, and settled for a contested mid-range jumper. It missed. No block, no highlight, just improvement. When the coach called for a sub, the crowd rose again, but with a new energy. The first ovation had come from curiosity. This one came from respect. Fans had watched a player grow in real time. On the bench, teammates celebrated him not as a spectacle, but as a contributor. Coaches delivered feedback with urgency, not novelty. He listened with focus, towel over his shoulders, sweat beading across the tallest head anyone in the arena had ever seen. He did not look like a viral giant. He looked like a developing athlete taking the next step toward a real future. Somewhere in the stands, a kid who always felt too tall saw himself in a new light. Somewhere else, a kid who always felt too small realized height alone is not destiny. Work is. Olivier became not a screenshot, but a symbol of what happens when uniqueness meets discipline. The final stat line did not break history. A handful of points, a few rebounds, altered shots, changed possessions. But numbers fail to measure the atmosphere he created. They do not capture the fear in drivers who turned away from the paint. They do not show the confidence his teammates gained behind him. They do not reveal the exact moment when the crowd stopped seeing a meme and started seeing a player. In those minutes, Olivier Rioux rewrote the story people usually tell about him. No longer just a measurement, no longer just a record, no longer just a viral curiosity. Tonight he looked like a real college player discovering his identity, his impact, and his future. If you enjoyed watching Olivier Rioux dominate the court, make sure to like this video and subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell so you never miss the next moment of history in the making. See you in the next one.